Hello, little explorers, and welcome back to the warm glow of Katha Lantern. I'm your host, Rutu, and I have a feeling that you have been waiting for this episode because last time we left someone in a very difficult spot. Do you remember? Sindbad the Sailor, alone, deep beneath the earth, a torch burning low in his hand, a glittering crystal cave all around him, and somewhere in the darkness ahead, the slow, enormous sound of something breathing. We did not find out what that was until today. Are you ready to go back? So, let's hop onto our magical carpet and find your coziest spot. Hold on tight, because today we are not soaring up over the golden minarets or shimmering harbors. Today, our carpet is diving down through the open sky, towards the narrow rocky shore, straight towards the dark opening in the cliff face where the river disappears into the earth. Feel the air all around you growing cooler. Feel the light fading and listen to the sound of water echoing as we slip inside through the low stone arch into the crystal cave. Sindbad is right here, listening, torch in his hands, eyes open, and whatever is breathing in those shadows, it is still there. So, let's open the book of Arabian Nights and continue Sindbad's journey. Sinbad the Sailor had not slept, not even for a moment. He had sat on the cold, flat shelf of rock all through those dark hours, torch balanced carefully in his hand, listening intently. The breathing from cave had not stopped. It had not moved closer. It had simply continued, slow, enormous, steady, like the breathing of the cave itself. And now Sindbad's torch was down to its last flicker. That's when he quietly said to himself,
"When this flame goes out, there will be nothing. No light, no way to see the river, no way to see anything at all. I cannot wait any longer."
Sindbad stood up slowly. He picked up his torch and he turned, not away from the breathing, but towards it. Because here is a thing, little explorers. Sindbad had been sitting in the dark for a very long time, thinking. And the more he listened to that breathing, slow, calm and unbothered, the less it sounded like something dangerous. Something dangerous would have found him by now. Something dangerous would not simply breathe and wait. Something dangerous would not be staying asleep. Whatever that was in the darkness, it was not hunting for Sindbad. And so, one careful step at a time, Sindbad moved forward. The passage curved gently to the left. The ceiling dropped lower. And then Sindbad rounded a bend in the rock and stopped completely still. There, in the largest chamber he had yet seen, stood the most extraordinary creature he had ever laid his eyes on. An enormous elephant, but not like any other elephant Sindbad had ever seen above the ground. This elephant was enormous, so tall that its back nearly brushed the cave ceiling. Its skin was pale, almost white, as though it had never once seen the sun. Its eyes were closed, and it was sleeping in the center of the glittering cave, with a stillness so deep and so ancient that it seemed less like a living creature and more like something the cave itself had grown over thousands and thousands of years ago. Sindbad was barely breathing. He was utterly still. And he said,
You have been here all along. You are the heartbeat of this place.
That's when the elephant opened its eyes. They were pale, almost colorless. The eyes of a creature that lived its whole life without the sunlight and that had learned to feel and hear the sense of the world in ways that needed no light at all. The elephant turned its great head slowly towards Sindbad and it looked at him, really looked at him in that calm, unhurried, ancient way that only the very oldest creatures could. Sindbad did not run. He did not shout. He stood completely still and looked right back at the elephant. And then, slowly, magnificently, the great white elephant stood up and turned away from Sindbad. For something so enormous, the elephant moved through the chamber with surprising grace, its feet finding the wet stone as though it had walked this path 10,000 times. It slowly disappeared through the passage on the far side of the cave. A passage Sindbad had not noticed before. A passage from which came, just faintly, the most beautiful thing Sindbad had felt in days. A breath of warm air. Sindbad's eyes grew wide. He held up his torch high. Warm air, moving air. The passage leads somewhere. It leads out. Sindbad did not hesitate. He pushed his raft back onto the river, keeping the passage in his sights, and paddled with everything he had. The water current helped him, pulling him forward, faster now, as though the river itself knew where it was going and was finally in a hurry to get there. The passage narrowed. The ceiling dropped so low that Sindbad had to lay flat on his raft and hold on his torch out in the front of him. The air grew warmer, brighter, and then the river burst out of a cliff face into the open world. Sindbad shot out of the cave, gasping, blinking, his raft spinning in the current, and then slowly settling, drifting gently into the wide, calm lagoon. He sat up on his raft and looked all around him. And little explorers, what he saw made every dark hour in that cave worth every single moment. Green everywhere, magnificent green. Tall palm trees swaying in the warm breeze. Flowers of every color tumbling over the rocks of the water's edge. The air smelled of salt and blossom of warm earth. Above him, the sky was most brilliant, the blazing blue he had ever seen, because after days in the dark, even an ordinary sky looks like the most extraordinary thing in the entire world. Sindbad tilted his face towards the sun. He closed his eyes and breathed in. Sindbad said in an exhausted, deep sigh of relief.
Sunlight. I had almost forgotten what it felt like.
He paddled his little raft to the shore and pulled it onto the sand. And it was there, sitting on the warm beach with his back against a palm tree, was a fisherman. The fisherman was an old man with kind eyes and wide, withered face. He took one look at Sindbad, battered, exhausted, blinking in the sunlight, and without a single question, handed him a flask of cool water and a piece of flat bread. Sindbad drank and ate in gleeful silence, and when he finally looked up, he asked the only question that mattered.
Friend, what land is this?
The warm and friendly fisherman said,
Why, traveler, you have washed up on the most blessed island in all the seas. This is Serendib.
Serendib, an island so lush, so abundant, so full of wonder that sailors who found it by accident, as Sindbad had, said it felt less like a discovery and more like a gift. An island where the rivers ran over beds of rubies and sapphires, where the forests were thick with spices and fruits, and where the king was said to be the most generous and wise ruler in the entire eastern world. The fisherman helped Sindbad to his feet and walked him through the edge of the forest to a road. And along that road, before long, came a party of king's own messengers, who took one look at the extraordinary travel-worn stranger and brought him with great courtesy straight to the palace. The palace of King of Serendib was unlike anything Sindbad had ever seen. Its walls were white as sea foam. Its garden were wild and flowering and alive with the sounds of fountain. And the king himself, seated on a throne inlaid with the precious stones. He rose when Sindbad entered, as though greeting not a shipwrecked stranger, but an honored guest. The warm, dignified, and generous king said,
Traveler, you carry the look of a man who has come a very long way. Please sit, rest, and when you are ready, tell me everything.
and so Sindbad sat down, and he told the king of Serendib everything: the shipwreck, the impossible cliffs, the underground river, the crystal cave, and the great white elephant that had shown him the way out. The king listened to every single word without interrupting Sindbad, his eyes growing wider with each new revelation. And when Sindbad was finished, the king was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled, a low, wondering smile, and he said,
In all my years, I have heard many tales of courage, but I have never heard one quite like yours, Sinbad. You faced the dark, and you walked toward it. That is not something every man can say.
Sindbad stayed in Serendib as the king's honored guest for many weeks. He rested. He explored that magnificent island, its ruby rivers and spice forests. The warm and generous people were very kind to welcome him in their homes. When the time came to sail back home to Baghdad, the king of Serendib sent him off with a ship, a crew, and a letter of greeting to carry to the Caliph of Baghdad himself. A letter that would set Sindbad off on yet another extraordinary adventure. But that, little explorers, is a story for another day. For today, Sindbad is standing on the deck of a fine ship, watching the green shores of Serendib grow small behind him. The sun is warm on his face. The sea is wide and blue, and in his chest, that familiar feeling is already beginning to stir. That magnificent, irresistible pull of something new. Every voyage tests you. Every dark place has a way through, and every sea eventually brings you home. And there, on the wide blue water, with the wind in his sails and the sun on his face, Sinbad the Sailor sailed home once more, richer, braver, and carrying a story that even he could hardly believe. And there it is, little explorers. A sailor who woke up in darkness and chose to walk towards the unknown. The greatest adventure, little explorers, do not always begin with a treasure map or a golden invitation. Sometimes they begin with a small, courageous step forward. And there, little explorers, our magical carpet has arrived us to take us back home. Let us say goodbye to the island of Serendib and Sindbad. We are flying high above in the clouds, slowly flying towards our home. And the flying carpet is now taking you back into your room. And now, little explorers, it is time for Katha Canvas. Grab your magical canvas and your brightest colors. Today, you could draw the great white elephant standing in the glittering crystal cave. Or you could draw the island of Serendip, a sunny beach with palm trees and bright flowers. Parents, please snap a picture of your child's masterpiece. Send it to us via DM on Instagram at the Katha Lantern, or you can email it to us at thekathalantern@gmail.com. We would be absolutely excited to add it to our glowing Katha Canvas Highlights Gallery. If your little explorer loved the Arabian Nights, please hit the plus sign on Apple Podcast or tap the follow button and bell icon on Spotify and YouTube. Liking the show or leaving a review is the absolute best way to help other families find our magical podcast of stories. Until next time, I'm your host, Rutu. Stay curious as you grow and let your imaginations glow.